keeping in mind that there's weaknesses that I want to work on, but never forgetting what my strengths are. That was a big one I learned from Rio. Going to like Lausanne 2 weeks earlier, I'd crashed in Tokyo on like a silly crash, but it was a pretty big one. And we had Lausanne, the grand final, 2.5 weeks later, and I was set up myself pretty well to win the world championship as long as I finished in the top like 14 or something. But the course was pretty technical, and my difference in mindset for going into that one was, all right, well, if I'm more conservative on the turns, I'm strong enough to make up for it on the flats and on the hills. And so rather than getting all tunnel visioned onto what my deficits were when it's too late to change them at that point, I'm more focused on, okay, like these are my strengths. Now, what can I do with them to overcome those weaknesses? Another one is energy management, which I think would go with mental skills. Sometimes I just need to have like a Katie day where I don't train with Tommy, because although I love him and I consider him a superpower and a secret weapon, that's not so secret, I also need time to myself and just to go my own pace, not talk to anyone, maybe just tune out to music and things like that. And then I would say like adaptability, where it's being able to, no matter what the race scenario, what the weather, whatever the course is, whoever is in the race, be able to have a mindset that's really engaged in whatever is going to come at me, and not feel like, oh, like, well, because it's raining, like I'm not an athlete who performs well in the rain, or I need this race to be a swimmer's race. I need to have a breakaway on the bike. I need to have this. It's being able to adapt to whatever type of race scenario I'm put in.
I like what you say sometimes. She says she doesn't like to put labels, because sometimes people label themselves as things like, oh, I'm not a people person, or I'm not this, or I'm this. Whereas like, if you just go in with the mindset that you're not anything specifically, you can always change. And so even if you don't feel like I'm not the guy that can ride in the rain, like I get scared when it's wet, like just get rid of that thought altogether and just tell yourself, I'm the guy who can ride in the rain. Like, and then eventually you'll see that mindset change, like your abilities.
Yeah, and I think I'll give you a bonus tip as well. The bonus, the bonus
points.
Yeah, is being aware that like those sensations before races or training, and that discomfort that I feel, like that doesn't necessarily mean I'm not ready. That doesn't necessarily mean that I'm physically incapable today. It just means like, well, I feel terrible before this race, but I always feel terrible before the race. Or like I feel really nervous on the start line, but I always feel like, it's so you don't get all caught up in those anxious feelings, but you can realize that, okay, well, this means I care. Like if I don't feel that way, like, well, for me, now I get nervous if I don't feel nervous.